So, hello.
Hello.
How are you? How do you feel today to be playing for a big tour in Germany? How does it feel with the fans and the mood in general?
In fact, very nice, very nice. I think the reaction of the crowd has been amazing, very good, and the feeling inside the band is also, I think, best for years. We have a good lineup now. We have a nice new drummer, Mika. We have a good new live keyboardist, Janne. So, and it's me and Jariot and Sami still in the band, so it's very nice. And everything is going very good.
You are touring in Germany for almost, I think, 1 month.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's the first tour for 4 years.
Okay.
So it's a long time since we toured last time. So we have been forced to start a little bit from the beginning again because of the long break. But it doesn't really affect our feelings. We have such a good feeling now. We're enjoying each show very much. And I think we are getting better all the time on stage. So what can I ask for more? I enjoy playing a lot.
Considering the break of the band, what happened exactly? And how did you live this kind of black hole in your head? Was it easy to deal with it? Or maybe was it a kind of fight?
Yeah, it's not very short story, but I can tell you anyway. After the Radium Round tour in 2000, what was the last real official European tour, we felt a little bit tired after touring like more than 10 years in a row without tour album. And it got a little bit into the nerves, you know. We wanted to have a little bit like calm down with it. Maybe think in peace for a little bit about the new ideas and learn a little bit again how to live like a normal boy. So in fact we enjoyed the break. But the point is that we were intending to have only 1 year break, not 4 years break. So the rest 2 years came just because of difficulties in the Scandinavian distributor. First of all, it took a long time. From year 2001 to 2002, we were having a new deal in Germany. We negotiated with 3 different labels before we find the right one. So it took a lot of time. And then from 2002 to beginning of 2003, we still had to struggle with the Scandinavian distributor because we were already signed to the well-known independent label in Scandinavia called M&W. But after first days of recording Rare Species album, we heard that the whole company has gone. So we had to start the negotiations from zero in Scandinavia, so it took a goddamn long time. So we weren't able to go to studio before in the beginning of 2003. But on the other hand, this kind of break you have to have, you know, in a way it did good. I think we are now feeling everybody like 18 years old, you know, to get back to the touring, and we feel like full of power and energy, and everything feels very nice now. Meanwhile, of course, yeah, because we are professional musicians, we have to find out some way to earn our living because the break tend to be very long. So I made music to one computer game called Max Payne, part 1 and 2, which was in fact the first really big computer game coming from Finland. So they paid me a reasonable money so I could just concentrate on the next WALTARI album. So it was very nice. I didn't personally had any big problems. Maybe in the last few months before album came out, started to be a little bit tight financially, but now it's okay again. Back to touring, and album is out, and some radio playing and stuff like this. So sounds good now. And Sami tour with Creator meanwhile, the whole globe. He's playing with Creator nowadays as well. As you seem to know about that. And so we had something to do. Our new drummer Mika, we changed the drummer somewhere between the break, year 2002. We got a new drummer, and Janne left playing with the other metal bands who had a more touring at the time. So he decided to stay with them. So Mika came in, and he is playing with a Finnish lager singer, some kind of humpa stuff between the breaks of WALTARI touring. So I think we are doing fine then. No real daily work since '91, so it's okay.
In the past,
Jari is in fact the only one who's doing a little bit, because he doesn't want to do any other music except WALTARI. So that's his decision, and I of course think I raise my hat, which not existing to him.
in fact, in the past, people say that WALTARI practice fusion, but now you have really changed compared to the year 93 to 96. We can say that in 2004, WALTARI is electronic music, more. It's metal, but it's more electronic music. The importance of the computer is really big in 2004. Could you
not so
could you
big
talk
than
about?
not so big than, for example, 5 years ago. No. I think we are getting a little bit back to the early roots. What I personally, you had some question anyway, but I answered this first.
Yeah.
That I personally see WALTARI as a rock band, which take influences from metal, electronic music, rap, punk, pop. But basically, we see WALTARI as a rock band. And around the time of Radium Round, which was our last album, I got pretty kicked off kicked out a little bit from metal scene, because I didn't feel it so creative at the time. I personally had my pop period at the time, and I kind of wanted to experiment. I did two solo singles in the name as a name K2 for a Finnish radio, total dance pop music. But at the same time, when we had a break with WALTARI, we sat down and we talked about things, and we recognized and we came to the conclusion that WALTARI is rock band, and we can flirt with any kind of styles as much as we can, but the basic comes from rock music. So that's a kind of structure we had nowadays. First comes rock, then comes anything else. And especially the Rare Species, I think it's maybe for my opinion, it's the rockiest album we have ever made. Of course, there's some technology in it, like we have done from the year '94. But still, I think the basic feeling leans on easy rock riffs and simple songs, simple rock songs.
So yeah, considering the new album Rare Species, what was your state of mind during its composition? Was it clear for you that it was the album of the return of the band?
No, because we started to already after Radio Round Tour 2000. I made a first compositions for the album during a break already. So it was already then, after Radio Round Tour, we decided that next album we want to have more rocky and more guitars and maybe more simple. So the break really didn't affect to the songs of Rare Species. I think the break will affect to the next album maybe a little bit more, because we have composed now like 12 new songs, which partly, mostly have been composed during this long break, like the last part of the long break, like in 2003 or something, when we were just starting to record the album and stuff like this. The Rare Species songs were more or less done already in the summer 2002, so at the time we didn't have so much breaks now, so I think the biggest influence will come to the next songs.
Okay, and considering this new record, why the name Rare Species, and as the cover is not usual for kind of hard rock or assimilated product, what was the aim? To have the kind of frog, the green
Chameleon.
yeah, chameleon on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was the concept to be different in the store?
I think the concept of chameleon has something to do with the whole career of Waltari. Not only Rare Species. It's a kind of, the working title for the album was Crossover Chameleon. It just became of our bio, what our manager Pekka did when we stopped having our break. You know, the first press infos were the name as Return of the Crossover Chameleon. And for somehow it was like here in our back all the time, this idea of chameleon. And then the Jörg from fan club Germany came with this picture of chameleon. Hey, this is a good picture of Waltari, the next cover. So we were thinking, okay, why not? Yeah, it's a good idea to put chameleon because it describes the band Waltari. And then the title Rare Species came from the chameleon, that it's kind of, chameleons are rare species, and we feel Waltari as a rare species because not because of the music of Rare Species, but the attitude of the band, which is that not to be too calculated like the bands usually are, to be more open-minded to anything. And I think that's rare nowadays in rock business. Everything is so categorized, calculated, boring, I must say. You know, I think it's sad, but it's a fact nowadays that the rock music doesn't have this creative part in it so much. And I think that was Waltari stands for. We want to stand for open-mindedness and freedom of music, because I think that's the only real way which can keep rock and roll surviving, because all the music business and everything has took over too much, and it's going down. All the labels are going down, the whole fucking business is going down. So we want to be alternative to this bad direction. And we think that at the moment there are not so many bands like us who are doing that thing. So in that kind, we think we are kind of chameleon, which is at the same time rare species.
And in a way, for a lot of people in the metal community, you are seen as kind of crazy musicians. So in a way, the way they are seeing you as a not so serious band, because
of course, yeah. I think if you're too serious, it also kills something. I think about the life generally. If we take everything too seriously, you know, we can't get nowhere. I think, you know, a little bit humor in music and the general life, you know, keeps the thing going on in a more intensive way, I think, and in a more effective way. I think a little bit humor everywhere is always good, because if I really start to feel that, well, I'm a fucking important person and it's my fucking art what I'm doing, so it sounds boring. I think it's good to have a chance to laugh sometimes to myself and what I'm doing, and And on the other hand, we have got many funny new inventions, style-wise, through a little bit humor. So I think what happened, for example, with the song "So Fine," you know, it's the song "So Fine" 4 ago was from Torcha Jukolauta, which was more or less like just a humor part with some drum machine programming, and then some Finnish very kind of traditional folk music. So I think through this we got an idea for "So Fine," for example, which was, I think, more or less our biggest hit so far, with a Lappish yoiking and some electronic beats. So I think humor can create many important things after all. Thinking about Frank Zappa, for example,
Yeah.
he had a lot of humor in his music, and he did a great stuff from this kind of aspect.
I want to know, you worked with Angelit on So Fine and Channel Nordica, and there is always the same chant that comes again and again. It's something like Eyolo, Leilo, La.
Yeah.
I want you to explain what is the origin of this chant. Is it a traditional Finnish chant, or is it just a composition of Angelit?
No. It's a traditional way how Same people are singing. It's a kind of it's a little bit compared to the, for example, when the black singers, what they did in America when they were slaves, when they were working on the fields, and that's how they were inventing blues. So I think this kind of tradition of yoiking has something to do with working and just the normal living. It's not the real music. They are not the real songs. It's kind of tradition and culture which has come from a very early days. So it's a kind of really native kind of singing. And the Lappish people think about it as a very holy thing. You know, when they started cooperation with WALTARI 10 years ago, some of their family in the Lapland didn't like the idea at all, because they think that they are ruining the holiness of yoiking. But okay, we went there for a few chants and we talked with them, and after that it was okay. You know, people accepted our views and saw that we are not any kind of commercial souvenir people who just want to sell the idea to big markets. And they recognize that we are as serious kind of about the music as they are with their music. So the feeling and mood of these styles kind of fit together. But they are very strict about the situations when they can use this yoiking singing, because it's kind of very spiritual thing to them.
Okay. And you know what? I saw on French TV a documentary about Finland, and they said that in fact Finnish people are often depressive because it is in winter, it is the night 20 hours in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And
the dark almost, yeah.
And there is a lot of suicides, and they said also that alcohol is flowing through their veins because they drink so much. Could you talk about this dark culture of Finnish people?
I'm not the best guy to tell about that, because I'm an exception of this field.
Yeah, I know.
And more or less all of my friends. I think this kind of this little bit maybe romantic way of saying about the depression of Finnish people. It's maybe more something to do with the older generations, and nowadays I think, for example, during the 90s, Finland and especially Helsinki has changed a lot. It's not the same kind of vibration there, which was, for example, WALTARI started in the late 80s. And I think that it's getting very dark, and there's no much light. You know, people get a little bit upset. I think it's because even like 150 years ago, Finnish people lived very close to nature, and I think the biggest in modern culture came after a Second World War or something. So in this way, I say that the old tradition, of course, from the real behavior of nature, is still living pretty strong amongst Finnish people. But if I see the youngsters and the people who are younger than me, it's not so much like that anymore. Of course, you know, in some young people there's also a little bit this kind of manic depressive attitude, sure. But I'm not a doctor, you know, I can't say any specific reason for that. But I think it's the climate and the weather which puts people down, because there's not so much sunshine in the wintertime. But nowadays, you know, there are many foreigner peoples living in Finland, bringing some new kind of attitude to wintertime, and we are part of European community nowadays, which means a lot. That there are a lot of different people hanging around in Finland nowadays, not only Finnish people. So of course it creates a different kind of, and from my point of view, better climate and better atmosphere to amongst Finnish people.
Okay.
So we are back with some questions. Considering the lineup changes you had and the style you are playing, it supposes a kind of technicity from the new musicians and a versatility also from them. So was it hard to find a new drummer and a keyboard player for the stage also, and a new
the keyboard player has never been any problem, because he can be any musician who is just get along with us, because he just play the parts of what I play in studio. You know, keyboard player has not so much dealing with the WALTARI sound, because he's kind of just a additional musician who is doing the stuff what I'm doing on CDs. But of course, with the drummer, you know, we had during a break when we lost Janne, we were first thinking that, oh, how can we go on, because we have played with Janne more than 10 years, and we didn't have any idea where we could find a drummer like him. But the times have changed in Finland as well, and there are a lot of good musicians in Finland nowadays. And for our big surprise, you know, we find Mika pretty easily. I think we tried 2 drummers before that, and Mika was the 3rd one, and fit perfectly. So it wasn't so difficult in the end what we thought it might be. And on the other hand, we are still 3 of the 4 persons are original guys, like me and Jariot and Sami. So the most of the people are still the ones, you know. If WALTARI would lose Sami or Jari, then we could be more in a deep shit, I think. That seemingly we can find another drummer replacing Janne.
Okay, and considering the way of writing the songs, are you thinking about this ability to play every stuff on earth, or you are just letting flowing your inspiration? How does it work?
I'm just letting flow in our inspiration. We don't decide. Okay, maybe sometimes we had this kind of games, just to entertain ourselves while touring. Okay, next album let's do this kind of song with this and this, but it was more like jokes, and most of them never did happen. But more or less, it's just like if I hear a good song, you know, anywhere in radio, TV, whatever, I hear a good song and sometimes I feel, hey, I want to do this kind of song, and it's just like it's very intuitional thing, not any, as I told you, Waltari is against all the calculations in music, so it's definitely it's about flowing the inspiration.
You told about some jokes or maybe to entertain yourself. When you are performing a song like No Limit, Symphony of Destruction, is it a way to be fun for you and for the listeners, or maybe to pay tribute to the composers of those kind of songs?
I think it's more like I think point one, we are having fun when we do these kind of things, but point second is that that we kind of think that we are making important work here for music with trying combining something which is not obvious, and like with No Limit, it's nice to see crowd, when part of they are dancing, they are kind of hearing the original song, and part of them are moshing because they hear loud guitars all the time and double bass drums. So I think that's I think I get the biggest satisfaction about the fact that we are doing something unique thing here, and we can offer something which any other band can't offer. So maybe that's second very important point why we enjoy playing this one. But of course sometimes we are just like having a laugh about the thing because it's so comic to play No Limit as a cover song. But to be honest, when the song came, I think it was okay song with a good lyrics with No Limit. So I thought that, and we all thought that the sound suits perfectly to a band because of, if nothing else, just because of the lyrics. Because that's what this band is all about with No Limit.
Okay, today you are playing in Germany. We talked just before about all the dates you have done, maybe for a month, more or less, in this country. Let's talk a bit more about France, because we are coming from France to see you.
Yeah,
so,
we are looking forward to come to play in France, really.
So what happened the last years, not being able to have Waltari in our land?
I don't remember what was last time, 98, 99 maybe, possibly?
97, as a guest of D Groups, I think.
No, we have been after that.
After
once or twice we've been after that, yeah. I think the last time when we were in France was with the last releasing of EMI, with the album Decay. I think that was the last time we visited France. Because we have played Arapaho, I think, quite many times in fact. And okay, after Decade compilation year 98, we moved from EMI to Idol. And okay, anyway, we didn't like Idol at all. They didn't work well in Germany, and similarly they didn't work well in France because we never went there to play. I don't even know if the album was released in France, Radium Round album. Was it released in France?
Yeah, it was available everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see any album was there was criticisms of the album on all the magazines.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, was it positive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because most of the journalists discovered Waltari with Radium Round, so they were surprised that a so good band appears in France only now. But perhaps they were a little young.
Okay, in that case, it showed more or less maybe poverty, or how should I say? Poverty and the lackness of our promoter in Europe, if he didn't arrange anything, because I remember there was some talking about going to France with Radium Round too, but for some reason it never did happen, and I didn't ask why. It just didn't fit to the timetable or something.
you consider that a record company should be responsible of the lack of touring in a country?
Of
Yeah.
course, and that was the one reason why we left Idol, because we thought that we recognized that they don't do this. They don't. They don't see it as important if we're gonna tour the places where the record has been released or not. And yeah, now it looks better with this 13 biz
13
company. So if there's some discussion about coming to play in France, of course. France is one of my favorite countries. Of course, I will come.
Okay.
And to deal in general with each country, is it a job you are managing yourself, or maybe do you have some people working for the band and doing the best possible to have the maximum exposition?
Yeah, you know, the point is why it took so long to negotiate with a new deal was that we really wanted to take care of the fact that we would get the people who really work for us and see it as an important thing like we do. So this is the point we have been really now been concentrating in, to get the people around which really cares about the band. Because we care about the band, so I think everybody else who's working with us has to also care about the band. So yeah, it looks better now.
Okay, I heard by Lauren that you worked on a kind of symphonic piece with a video project.
Evangelical.
Evangelical.
So can you tell us what was behind your head to create such a project along with WALTARI?
Yeah, it was for me. It was the second part for the Yeah Yeah Die Die death metal symphony, which I composed for WALTARI 94, 95, and this was just like a better version of it for the band's taste. It was like that the head of a Finnish National Opera has did hear the Yeah Yeah Die Die CD from us, and he had been thinking about doing something with metal music to Finnish National Opera. He's a great guy, you know, very open-minded guy to all the different ideas. And first he was thinking about doing a choreography for Yeah Yeah Die Die to be played in Finnish National Opera. But and that was the thinking when we first time met the guys. He offered us let's go have a talk about this thing. Okay, let's go have a talk about this thing. And but then suddenly he was suggesting me to write a total new song to National Opera. Of course, yeah, I come. Yeah, of course, it's a big honor. And then I recognized straight ahead. Okay, now I have a chance to make it better what I started with Yeah Yeah Die Die. So it was just my personal idea to mix death metal and classical music. I think the guy from the ballet and opera was a little bit maybe thinking more style like Nightwish or something. but anyway, he gave us free hands to take care about the music. So I kept my head on thinking, yeah, I will do another death metal symphony for sure, and make it even much more harder than what Yeah Yeah Die Die was. And yeah, it was I was very satisfied with the music. The spectacular itself was very hard to handle because National Opera didn't have any specific PA system for death metal music, so the sound was pretty silent on stage. But anyway, it was good, you know. we have more than 100 people on stage. And we are still waiting for the day that we can go and do it in the studio, because we all felt that it's a good piece, and we definitely want to do it someday still.
Among others, there was Tarja from Nightwish.
Tarja.
Tarja, yeah.
Sorry for the accent.
Yeah.
So how was the work with her, and why did you call her for this work?
The Nightwish just had become known, and I wasn't so satisfied with the last female vocalist in Yeah Yeah Die Die. So I heard the voice of Tarja, and I thought that okay, this is the person we want to have to the opera house. And of course, when she heard about the thing, she said, "Yeah, of course I will come. It's a big thing to play to sing in a main stage of opera house, National Opera House." So it's Tarja is a kind of classical girl, you know. She's not any kind of rock girl. So she was thinking, yeah, it's a great thing to go to play sing in a National Opera House. So yeah, it was easy. She was a very easy girl to work with, and a very nice girl, very attractive, nice girl.
Considering her approach in Nightwish, do you like what she is doing in this band?
Yeah, I kind of like Nightwish. Maybe mostly because of her voice, but I think because I don't like this retro metal so much, so I think that Nightwish is one of the best of this area, because it has something unique anyway to have the real opera singer in the metal band. So it's kind of interesting.
When you see your progression as a band and their very fast success, do you think they have something different?
Who's fast success?
Yeah, with Nightwish.
Yeah.
Do you see that, or maybe do you feel that the two careers were taken differently?
Sorry to.
Were taken differently in the way of managing the two bands and to expose them to the world?
You mean talking about Nightwish?
Yeah, because they have quite a commercial success.
Yeah.
So WALTARI is maybe more cult for.
Yeah, of course. Waltari
So
is more.
how do you see?
Yeah, but WALTARI is musically, unfortunately, cult because as I told you, there are not so many bands like us. But Tarja is a singer of Nightwish. You know, she was just like guesting us with Evangelicum. If you have a chance to do it as a CD, I don't see any reason why she wouldn't come to sing. It's just maybe depending on her timetables or something like this.
Okay, just after talked about Nightwish, in general, what do you feel about the Finnish scene? Because you know, for maybe 4 or 5 years, the Finnish bands are really exploding in the world.
Yeah,
so what is your opinion
it's
about...
the best, it's the best. It's really the best, I think. After America and English market, I think Finland has the best quality of bands, really. And I have been shouting about this like from the year 91, because already at that time there started to came a lot of good quality bands. Some of them never didn't achieve Europe, but most of them did, like Amorphis and Sotovarius and Rasmus, of course. They were pretty good in early days. In fact, they were more like Red Hot Chili Peppers, kind of funky stuff. Now they have went totally to this teenage pop. But anyway, that's okay. They want to earn some money, so why not? Kyria, you might know from I don't know. They did some tour in Germany. That was a very good band. I think Finland, the quality of Finnish band is amazing. I think there are not many countries in the world like in Finland, really, in the music side. I must say I'm a really big fan of Finnish music, and I've been like since late 80s.
Okay, maybe to be back on your band, it's for almost 20 years that you are around.
Yes.
So having this.
I can't get it into my head, really.
Yeah. So what do you feel? Because I see in your eyes that you are still crazy. So
Sorry?
yeah, you are. I see that you are still crazy. Listen
Yeah.
on the last album that you have plenty of ideas. So if you had any power to stop the time, would you use it to compose maybe 100 CDs of the band?
Maybe. But no. I think it has gone pretty okay like this, you know. When we started, you know, the only thing about the music was that as long as we can get our bread about that, it's okay. Otherwise, we just want to fit in with what we want to do, you know, and we just make music because of it's fun. And maybe that's the reason why I don't feel like playing 20 years because it's been fun all the time, and maybe this style changing keeps us more young or whatever. Because I see so many good bands when they start, you know, and what happens to them after 5 years. It's horrible to watch how old they look suddenly, though they are hardly 30-year-old or something. And I think the way we have chosen to make music keeps us more fresh and keeps us very awakened from our heads, you know. So we really don't feel like playing 20 years. I could say maybe from 5 to 10 years, maybe that's how I feel at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the band as a kind of experimental soap, maybe? You are cooking in your kitchen, trying a lot of music, melting everything, trying, it's good, it's bad. Do you see you as experimentators?
No, not really. I think it's the same when you talk about food, you know, it's the same with food. You don't want to just eat the same food every day. So it's the same with us in music. So it's for us it's more than experimental thing. It's total natural thing, you know. And because when I was a real kid, you know, I was listening to bands like Queen and Led Zeppelin, and with their albums, you know, I always enjoyed the fact that I don't know what's coming next. I think that's the part of the rock music I have learned when I was a kid. That it's a part of the thing that you can't know how the next album will sound and what will be there, you know. I think we don't experiment because we are just reflecting original idea of rock music. and it's the legacy what we have got from our childhood, and we don't really feel any speciality in it. We feel it totally normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't feel we are any crazy, you know. We more we feel that the others are crazy because they are just enjoying playing the one song year after year. So of course not all the bands like that, but at least the people who think that's the right way to play rock music, then, and I must say no, definitely not. It's a total wrong way to play music. I don't see it as a craziness. I see it more as just there's so many sides.
Excitement, maybe in general.
Yeah, and just to stay open-minded, you know. And music is richness. It's not poorness. So I would have stopped years ago if I would have just play to do albums like Torture all the time. I really would have stopped making music in 5 years, because for us it's always like adventure to start to make new songs, because you can never know what comes out. So that makes it all worth and makes it all interesting. And okay, maybe I'm more about talking about laziness or craziness. Maybe I'm little restless guy. I get tired to want things very fast. I want to do some, you know, and one of my all-time idols is like David Bowie, for example, who's changing his style all the time, and this is you know what I want to be. I want to be like him, you know. I want to be like David Bowie.
When I think about the project Cat and Mouse, I want to ask you the question: what is the importance of the influence of your elder brother in your musical culture?
Pretty big, definitely. I think that's they are 16 kids, 60s kids. So I think that's the legacy which has come as attitude from rock music. That bands has to have many kind of songs. That it just otherwise it get bored, like the old bands did. So I use the same attitude in my music. I just use the styles of my generation, like metal music and electronic stuff and ethno, for example. So, but definitely, Cat and Mouse is kind of a project what I had already when I was like 6-7 years old. My brother was already 18 when I was 7. So he taught me a lot of things in music, and we were always playing at home and improvisation. So this small sequence from the She Does Sleep from Cat and Mouse album shows a little bit kind of idea what I did at home with my brothers when I was a kid. I was just singing and trying to sing like Robert Plant because he had a very high voice and I had a very high voice when I was a kid, so I always enjoyed acting Robert Plant, so he's still one of my favorite singers. And he is a really open mind in making music, which I respect a lot. I was watching his show in Finland like 2 years ago, and it was great. You know, it was a mixture of blues, some electronic stuff, and then Indian stuff. It was amazing, and a good voice. So I think it's the influence of my family, of course, is very big.
Okay, c'est bon.
Having Rare Species released for a little while, by now, what are your expectations? And to end this interview, what can we expect about the band in the future?
The good news is that we play last Sunday in Berlin, where we met our record company Vielklang from Germany, and we are already deciding about the next album. So story will continue, and so I think, you know, the biggest thing what you can expect is to have a next album sooner than this one.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Thanks
a lot.
For this interview.